Alright guys, one more video for this week's lesson. We're going to review factoring out the GCF, greatest common factor. Okay, problem number 1, we have 6x squared plus 9. So this is a binomial, it has two terms. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the GCF of these two terms. So first we look at the coefficient, that's the number part. What's the biggest number that's a factor of 6 and 9? Okay, the biggest number that will go into 6 and 9 is 3. So I'm going to write a 3 right here. And then they also both have an x in common. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since they both have an x, I can factor out an x. And the only thing I have to look at is what exponent to use. So this has an exponent of 2. This has an exponent of an invisible 1. Okay, we have to take the smaller of the two. So we're just going to factor out x to the first power, or just x. Okay, so what happens next is my GCF is here, 3x, and then I'm going to open parentheses, and the way we figure out what goes in the parentheses is we divide all the terms by 3x. Okay, 3 goes into 6 2 times. X, 1 cancels out on the bottom, leaving me with just x to the 1 on top. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then these x's, they divide out right there. Okay, so what I have left is I have 2x plus 3. And that is factored form. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for number 2. I have 16mn plus 4m. So I look at the coefficients first. Biggest number that will go into 16 and into 4 is 4. Okay, and then I have mn here and m here. Now I can only factor out a variable that they both have, so I can only factor out that m. So my GCF is 4m, and now I'm going to divide both terms by 4m. 4 goes into 16 4 times. The m's cancel out, and then I have the n. So I have 4n here. Now over here, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and m divided by m is 1. So all I have left here is a plus 1. So here is my answer. Okay. 3 more problems. Taking a look at number 3. Same process. Okay, I'm looking for the GCF. So I look at the coefficients. 3 and 4, they don't actually have any common factors other than 1. Okay, so there's not going to be a number piece in our GCF. So now I have to look at the variables. I have x to the third and x squared. So I know I can factor out x, but I have to take the smaller of the two exponents. So I'm going to factor out an x squared. And then with the y's, I have y squared, y cubed. So again, I'm going to take the smaller of the two exponents, so that's going to give me y squared. So my GCF is x squared, y squared. So that's what I'm going to divide by. Okay, I have to divide both terms by x squared, y squared. Just kidding. All right, so 3, there's no number to divide out, so the 3 stays. 2 of these x's cancel out, but it leaves me with just x. And then my y's go away. Okay, so I'm left with 3x here. Here I have the 4, my x's cancel. Y cubed divided by y squared leaves me with just y. So 3x plus 4y. And there's my answer. Okay. All right, let's do 2 more. 6x cubed minus 12x to the 4th. So for my GCF, I'm looking at my coefficients first. 6 and 12, the greatest common factor, the biggest number that will go into 6 and 12 is 6. Okay, and then they both have x's, so I'm going to take x to the smaller exponent, which is the 3. So 6x cubed is my GCF. So that's what I'm going to divide by. Okay. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. X to the third divided by x to the third is also 1. So this just leaves me with a 1. Now, I said earlier they cancel out. They're not actually canceling out. They're not going away completely. But when I divide anything by itself, it gives me an answer of 1. So I have to show that that 1 is what I have left there when I divide out my GCF. This is a minus, so it's going to be minus 6 goes into 12 2 times, and x to the third, those divide out, leaving me with just x. So minus 2x. Okay. Almost done. We're going to look at one more. It is a trinomial, which means it has 3 terms. Okay, so the problem looks a little bit bigger, but the process is the same. Okay, I'm looking for the GCF, the greatest common factor, starting with my coefficients. So I have 25, 10, and 15. So I need to know what's the biggest number that will go into 25, 10, and 15, and that is 5. Okay, now I'm going to look at the variables. They all have an m. I'm going to take the smallest exponent, which is here, just m to the first power. Okay. Then I'm also looking at my n's. Here's n squared, n to the fourth, n. This is my smallest exponent, so 5mn is my GCF. So that's what I'm going to divide by all the way across. Okay. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. This leaves me with m to the fourth, and this just leaves me with n. So I have 5 m to the fourth n is my first term. 10 divided by 5 is 2. M, that leaves me with m squared, n to the third. So plus 2m squared n to the third. And then lastly, this one is minus, so this is going to be minus. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And the m's and n's divide out. So all I'm left with there is the 3. And there is your review on factoring out the GCF. Let me know if you have any questions. Send me an email, send me a message, and find me on Google Classroom.